8. We got it marked right here at the bottom. Okay, so maxes and mins are directly related to end behavior. So let's review end behavior real quick. So on this first part right here, the end behavior is just the arrows, y'all. So the left arrow is pointing down. The right arrow is pointing down. This is the same end behavior because I wrote the same thing twice. Which means if they go down forever, I will never have an absolute minimum. And I'm going to abbreviate absolute minimum. But I will have an absolute maximum. And if you notice in this graph, I have 2 high points, and they're even denoted with a little dot right here. This first dot underneath the letter A, y'all, this is a relative maximum. But the other one above letter B, this is an absolute maximum. An absolute means the highest that the graph is ever going to get. Absolute highest is going to be above that letter B. The relative, you can have more than one relative. I can have like 300 relatives, maxes and mins, doesn't matter. But I can only have one absolute. And guys, I just want to show you the reason why it's called relative is because I could block off the domain between 0 and let's say that's C. And if you're just looking at this, that's a maximum relative to the domain that we're in. Domain drives everything from 1.4. So that's why we call it relative, just because it's relative to the snapshot that we're looking at for the domain. Let's go ahead and talk about this other one. This other one also has the same end behavior, but it's up. Same end behavior, same arrows pointing in the same direction. So if it's going up forever, of course, I will never have an absolute max. And I'm going to abbreviate absolute max. But I will have an absolute minimum. And I do. Same kind of concept. I have 2 low points here. The one above letter A is relative. So that's a relative minimum. The one above letter B is an absolute minimum. Now don't turn the page yet because I want to talk to you on how I'm going to test and quiz you over this concept. So if I give you a picture like this, and I will, I'm going to ask you to identify all of the maxes and all of the minimums. So back on this first part right here, guys, this low point, it's not noted, but on a test or a quiz, you would be asked to identify this is a relative minimum. It's relative to the surrounding domain. On this other one, right here, that's a relative max. It's a high point relative to that domain. So any turning point on a graph is a relative max or a relative min. Remember, you can have lots of relatives, you can only have one absolute.